Week 1. We are a research team on a mission to search out different medical plants in a previously undiscovered part of a jungle and vast rainforest. We have been out here a week without incident. We are highly prepared against all the hazards of this ecosystem. With everything ranging from poisonous to life-ending, you have to be careful. Spiders, snakes, jaguars, just to name a few. The plants can be just as lethal with the castor bean, oleander, rosary pea, wolf's bane, and more. Underneath is a beauty that invokes such awe in a lush green cathedral. The rivers are clean and pristine. The rainfall leaves behind such a fragrant smell. This is why I choose to be a scientist, to learn about Mother Earth in all her glory. Still, for all the allure of this place, I can't help but feel stalked, as if something or someone watches our presence here. We are far from everything and everyone we know. It's what we do. Yet, in my tent at night, I feel another's eyes on me. I can't sense intent. So, I'm not sure if this is good or bad. I sleep light and take all precautions in case I have told no one. I have to keep this to myself and not alert the squad. There seemed little point with just suspension and no proof. Just a hunch, really. That's at least a comfort. Week 2. Teammate Jefferson has gone missing. They must have left their tent during the night. I should have said something. A costly lesson of my teammate. Disappeared, leaving behind little clues. Just their gear at the foot of some bizarre tree. It's haunting how it looks so much like them. The limbs forming human, like features including a heartbeat. The sap is crimson like blood, and it seems as if the plant does cry. The tree is always warm. It's absolutely impossible, but yet clear proof remains. No Jefferson, but this plant. It sprung up the same night they vanished. It had never been there before. When we surveyed a place to camp, it wasn't there. That eerie coincidence could not be forgotten. This happened a night before Preston spotted an old sign made of stone. The texts were completely indecipherable. No one could read a thing. Did it foreshadow what's about to happen? My feeling of unease growing and fear of losing more of the group. I explained our situation and decided to put it to a vote. It was almost a tie, but one vote for Preston sealed our fate to stay, and I would stay with my squad. I can't help but think, is the money and science worth it? I really don't want to regret this choice. However, my call to adventure will ultimately lead me on. I would rather know the answer to these questions myself. After a couple of days, we will move on for now. We give Jefferson more time. Maybe they will come back. I don't know if I truly believe that. We all feel that presence watching us from the shadows, but still no sign of it anywhere. We will keep up our vigil. At this point, safety was a carefully crafted illusion by our minds. It has never been safe. Week 3, the rains of death came so swiftly, we had little time to react. Some of us found shelter under plants. It didn't erode them. The remaining members screamed as they melted. Acid drops fell from the skies without mercy. I could only watch the most painful death I couldn't have imagined. I couldn't save the squad as they begged for help. You could smell flesh burn. The real water soon neutralized the acid, leaving behind my dead squad in its wake. Only 3 of us survived. 3. I want to sink into self-blame, but who could have foreseen this horror? We were briefed on everything. They didn't tell us or didn't know my hatred of the company swelled, but the only thing that matters is to get home. We dug their graves, sobbing as we went. We buried their dreams, everything with them. They were so brave. Witnessing this, my resolve grew. I will go home to my wife. I will go home to my wife. I will not die here. I apologized to the dead after we packed up camp. It won't bring them back, but I never would have agreed to this mission if I had known. The cost of knowledge was just too high. We left behind our friends. We had no choice but to press forward. If we fail, my name is Cassandra and this mission angel. We lived for science, but I refused to die by it. Our friends are in the Valley of the Rains. If you can bring them home, I sleep with a river of tears, tonight broken in pieces. I only hope I wake up tomorrow. Week 4. I dreamed of the rain and my friends' final cries. I woke up screaming and that echoed loudly. It was too quiet. Instinctually, I ran from my tent in wild fervor to see if Jenny and Lloyd were okay. My body full of adrenaline, I pulled down the tent door. Jesus Christ! I broke down, losing my absolute mind, seeing them with flowers growing from their eyes, throat, chest. The flowers were red and pulsing. I failed. They were dead from a vampiric plant, and once again I couldn't save anyone. The absolute bitter futility in front of my eyes. These were the flowers they sent us to find. A leech that murdered my team. I'll not bring it back. Fuck them all for this. No one should have come here, but they sent us. Of course they knew. Their exaction team would be soon. They knew the exact spot. I couldn't stop crying. This broke me. I can't do this anymore. I want nothing but to go home. I moved away from the plants and waited for the squad. I'm going home. I'm finally going home. Well, I am getting frustrated, and I don't know what I'm going to do, but the only thing I can think of is getting this off my chest. Me. 14-year-old female. My brother's 18 and 9, and my two parents moved to the UK in the countryside. We thought it was a fresh start, seeing as the old place we lived in was terrible. So we moved to the countryside. It was lovely. We all enjoyed the neighbors' company. Everyone, especially the kids, they were super keen on us moving in the old shaggy house that was left there. No one inside. We learned from the people in the town after moving to this old shaggy house was that it was owned by this quite famous family years and years ago. I asked the man who was showing us the town why they were famous. He looked very uncomfortable and frowned when I asked him. Then finally his teammate told me something that haunts me to this day. Apparently, there used to be a family that lived where we were. They were called the Larings. The parents had 2 little twin sisters and 1 brother. He told me that one of the twin girls went around the forest with her pink bicycle and went missing. The 2 things that the family and the neighbors didn't understand was that there was no crime where they lived, and second, the daughter always stayed in the eye view of the parents, and the girl was described as responsible. He didn't finish the story, but he sternly looked at me and said, "Kiddo, whatever you do, do not go in the forest." I wish I listened. I wish I listened. I wish I listened. We got home and it was lunchtime. I decided to see if I could make any friends nearby. So I did. I met a girl my age called Ronnie. She was one of a kind. I bonded with her really quickly, and 2 of these boys that were her friend. They were super immature and nice at the same time. However, here's where things go downhill. We've been in this house for 3 months. Nothing has happened. Only when my 9-year-old brother plays football outside, that's when things get dark. Remember when I told you I had to stay away from the forest? Well, no one told that to my younger brother. I had to look after him whilst my older brother and parents went into town. I remember him throwing his ball, kicking it side to side to side. Then I watched the ball drift into the forest and him running after it. I screamed. I called his name over and over again as I ran out from my seat and flew to the front door in panic. As I opened the door and peered out, my brother was gone. It was like he disappeared. The only thing that was left was his football that I saw from where I was standing. I remember dialing my mum and the police soon after my brother was missing. A search party was held. Days went by and my mind was in a blurry state. Me and that man that told me the story begged and begged that no one goes into the forest, but obviously no one listens to a 14-year-old responsible for a missing child and an old man who lies all the time. After the search party was released, none of those people came back. Everyone was in shock and ordered people not to go into the forest. Things became a disaster because kids will prank each other and force one to go in there and then. There's a case about that child. All the time. And even if you investigate the missing child's friend, you won't get a word out of them. They are speechless, traumatized. Back to the main part of my story. The old man would come to me and tell me some key details about the forest. He would always seem so weirded out by what he was saying. I started to become more suspicious by the day because the only thing I wanted was my brother back, and he was the only source of information I had. Anyways, what he told me left me fucked up for life. The kids that went missing in our neighborhood always left something behind they carried. If it was sweets or a phone or shoes, you would always see something left behind. It was always where they went missing, so my brother disappeared in front of our house. The only thing left was his football on the grass untouched. So he then got to the Loring story. He explained that there was something abnormal in the forest that was not human. Even though it sounded uninteresting, he told me that he had a glimpse of a boy with a scoop of black curly hair, sewed eyes, and a basketball top. I thought he was talking about Christian, Ronnie's friend, so I was a bit put off by this explanation. He then explained how the little girl went missing and he recovered the body years after. He told me that the face of the girl was replaced with strings, as if a 5-year-old tried remaking her expression. After that, he told me something that turned my blood cold. He explained that the entity feeds off a kind of emotion. He lures these people in by voices of their loved ones. They assume it's someone calling their name, so they run in there finding out. You know what happens next. He growls as he adjusts his position on the chair. That's some bullshit story. I want my brother back. Stop wasting my damn time, I snapped. He's not coming back, he said. How do you know, hon? You're just some loner who thinks he can rip people off with some stupid magical monster? My daughter's missing. I haven't seen her alive for over 40 years. My family has moved out torn apart. They don't know that I watched it all happen. Every kid that I see with my own eyes are all happy, cheerful to go into this forest. Then they go in and I never see them again. I know why now. I know. I never see them again. I know why now. I warned everyone I was sworn to protect the people of this town. I cannot leave. I'm stuck in this town. I don't age. I live a life seeing people's faces get ripped apart. I wish I never moved. I wish I never thought this place was a dream come true. I wish I listened. 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 "Tss," he repeated agitatedly. He was right. All along, I never did see my brother again. I wondered what life would be like with Ronnie, Christian, and my brother. They are missing. They will never be found. And I know why. I made them disappear. There's a new family that joined our neighborhood. They went into the same house I was once brought up in. There was 2 twin girls and a brother. I guess this is what the old man meant when he said he's stuck here forever. He's stuck in the same loop forever. He's stuck in the same loop forever. One midnight, while scrolling through Facebook, an unexpected notification popped up. John Jay wants to be your friend. Being cautious due to my wariness of strangers, I promptly dismissed the request and settled in for sleep. Later, during an uneasy hour, a nightmare revisited the same scenario. This time, I attempted to reject the request, but an invisible grip compelled my hand to accept. Startled awake, I found myself breathing heavily and unable to find solace in slumber. Morning's light brought little relief. My right hand throbbed with pain, adorned with an inexplicable bruise. Although my apprehension flared, I attributed the injury to my cat's playful nature. Throughout the day, a sense of disquiet lingered. Upon logging back into Facebook that evening, shock washed over me. Over 100 messages from the stranger, John Jay. How had he messaged me without my approval? As his messages cascaded in, I decided to sever the connection with John Jay without hesitation. Night fell, yet anxiety refused to relinquish its grip. The specter of potential danger loomed large. Could John Jay be a threat? Were my safety and well-being at risk? Enter my cat, stepping into the room. In a surreal twist, she fixed her gaze upon me and voiced the unthinkable. John Jay wants to be your friend, Linda. Why don't you accept? Panic surged within me, and my voice found release in a startled cry. The cat's response was swift, a swipe across my face before vanishing into the darkness. Terror entrenched itself, distorting my grip on reality. Repeating John Jay wants to be your friend. Why don't you accept, Linda? I stared into the mirror, my reflection a stranger unto itself. Time passed, and the requests ceased. Yet, on a fateful night, my cat assumed her customary spot beside me on the bed. Her unwavering gaze paralyzed me. Slowly, she transformed into a man, a voice echoing, John Jay is now your friend. Say he to your new friend. Stunned and immobilized, I bore witness to my cat's metamorphosis into John Jay, a fusion that forever altered the fabric of my existence. Now known as John Linda, the amalgamation of John Jay and Linda embarked on a curious ritual, sending out daily friend requests. John L. wants to be your friend requests. John L. wants to be your friend. If you decline, he'll make you accept. If you accept, he'll make you regret. The enigmatic entity John L.